Hello and welcome everybody. Very pleased to welcome you to today's webinar through MBL Seminars. Thank you very much indeed for joining me. My name's Safta Mahmood. Now this webinar today, I'm going to be speaking to you about some of the areas relating to public children law, and we'll be looking at some of the updates and exploring those. As you can imagine, this is an area that continues to have significant developments in public childcare cases, of course. And there's a lot of case law, there's a lot of guidance, whether it's, for example, matters surrounding interim removal, separation, placements. There's been a lot about the position surrounding the use of intermediaries, for example, and matters surrounding DOL applications, adoption, and fostering. So with that in mind, there's going to be a number of areas that we'll be looking at today. Okay, so with that in mind, in the contents then you'll see, I'm going to be starting with, in the order that I've set out in the contents, working through running of care cases following the relaunch of the PLO, and particularly the implications of this case of ALA against E and others of 2024. We'll look at the position with interim removal and how the Reed-E case ties in with that, the 2024 decision about hair strand testing, and then disclosure of information between family and criminal agencies and jurisdictions. So basically the police disclosure protocol as of 1st of March 2024. What's the position with children staying at home under a care order? How does JW, this case, really apply in practice? And then what about the long-term use of Section 20 orders in that regard? So Section 20 accommodation, voluntary accommodation, or certainly for some of you practicing in Wales, the use of Section 76 of the Social Services and Wellbeing Wales Act of 2014. The good practice when working with parents with learning disabilities, we have to be clear about what the expectations are there. And then what about change of surname where a child is subject to a care order? I'll also be looking at assessment of risk by local authorities, use of participation directions, cases such as X and Y, the use of intermediaries and some of the more recent thinking on that with the VM case that we'll look at, and also then consideration of adoption versus fostering following the case of DS, and also the position with modern views on adoption. What about fact-finding hearings, consideration of HW, transfer of live-with arrangements? And then what about developments in threshold, and what if the child's in utero? Can the actions of the mother in those circumstances towards the unborn child also count towards threshold? There's developments on practice direction on bundles, so we'll have a look at that. And also some of the recent jurisprudence surrounding deprivation of liberty applications, fact-finding hearings, and then progressing plans for adoption when, say, an appeal may be lodged, as well as the transparency guidance. So a number of things to really go through with you today.